Doodly-doo. All right. Let's see here. Golly, it's been a minute, y'all. That's loud. Well, hello, friend. I'm still just getting set up, so forgive me. Running behind. I will tell the story as to why as soon as I get all situated here. Oh. This is stuff I should have been doing a half an hour ago. But no, I didn't do it. Stand up straight. Uh-oh. No, don't do that. There we go. Just tilting my monitor here so I can actually see the comments. All right. Shall we have a look at our patient here? Oh dear. Well, hey, no worries. Maybe I can be soothing and you can drift off to a port-induced slumber whilst I work on my odd little project here. Okay. I wrapped this up really well. Now I can't tell where it starts and ends. There we are. Okay. So, all right. Come here, you. There we go. Oh no, come on now. Focus. You can do it. No kitty. There's a doggy though. Yeah. So I messed up the focus though. Come on. You can do it. There it is. Okay. Yeah. So this is our current monstrous project, which I will actually be posting video, like process video of later. But if I tell you that while I was working on this last night, you could put your weed in there, man. But yeah, if I tell you while I was working on this last night, I'm like assembling all these little pieces together. I almost threw it across the room. I was so frustrated with it. But then once I managed to get it to kind of this stage, or at least like once I managed to get it mostly to where I could hold it in one piece, it was much better. It was a much better experience. All right, so what I'm going to be working on today is a couple things. One I have completely failed myself at. So I'm going to require some water. But can you see? I don't know how well the camera will pick this up, but the angle is so weird, but I hesitate to mess with it a bunch more. Let me see. Yeah, and they don't match perfectly by any stretch. Let's see. Come on, Amy, you're a puppeteer. You understand camera angles. Come on, do this. All right. Here. There we go. Oh yeah, I saw that rhombus thing. That was crazy. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's not completely regular. I mean, I took the pains when I was rolling out the slab and cutting out the pieces and everything. Like I had my little template and I cut them out all to the same size. And then, I had a little beveling tool to bevel the edges to, an approximation of the correct angle. Because, like, if you look, like the correct angle for an icosahedron, which is what this is like something like 20.1267 degrees. Like there's no way. There's no way. And even if I could cut it that precisely, it didn't. By the time it gets to this stage, there will have been variations and shrinking and stuff like that. So my goal was really just to get the thing assembled, and then any irregularities would just kind of be written off to, hey, it's art. So let's hope. This is also a good test to see if my son watches my stream. So what I'm kind of doing right now, I do have water. I just have it in the wrong vessel at the moment. Okay. So I don't know if I showed these off on the stream. I know I was working on them on the stream before. But these are what the mugs for the tadpole meetup ended up looking like. So there's the back. So those were a big hit, and that was quite the labor of love. And thankfully, mine was the only one that ended up like this, where it doesn't have a handle. So everybody else's had nice handles, and they all survived, and there was no monstrous chipping or horrible thing like that. So all that was really good. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Like any irregularities, just like, it's close enough. Your eye will make up the difference, and that's frequently the case, right? So precision is good, but at some point when you're doing something like this, where you have 20 individual pieces that you're trying to meld together, then you have to kind of give yourself a little grace, I find. I had, there we are. Bloop. Just need some paper towels to clean up this here little spill. All right. So I'm just going to dunk my rib. This is my little metal rib. And what I'm going to try and do is get some of these. You see how it looks like it kind of has cystic acne right now? I'm just going to take my rib and just kind of rub this over the surfaces and just try and smooth some of that out. Some of these are going to require a little bit more invasive procedures, I think. But we'll see how far we can get. I did not time this correctly, which is part of the reason why I was running a little bit behind when the stream started. Because I figured, oh, cool, like 4 o'clock for me. Awesome. That'll be like, Coverville will be just about over. But Brian had a little bit of a false start today, so Coverville's running a little bit behind. Also, it's a big episode because it's like a tribute episode for 3 people, because like all the people are dying, I guess. So yeah, Coverville's still going at the moment. So I timed this one a little poorly. I should probably give it a wider berth. Maybe do like a 4:30 or even a 5 o'clock would work. We'll see. Like I say, I'm trying to find the time slot that will work best both for folks joining and not stepping on, certainly not stepping on my friends' streams. Don't want to do that. Can you hear me okay there, Phil? And if you're already asleep, don't worry about it. I just want to make sure that the sound sounds okay, because my mic is way the hell over there. Actually, that just occurred to me. Jeez, I'm a disaster. Okay. Buy myself a great guitar and play. Don't mind me while I move my mic. Again, thing I should have done an hour ago, but didn't. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna get all of this straightened out, I promise. Sorry for the false start here, guys. It just seems to be the day for it, I guess. Here we go. Turn the condenser around. There. Now you can hear me. Okay. All right, back to work. You see me staring right back at me. And this little opening here, I actually made all 20 of the sides, but the functional aspect of this piece is for it to be a pencil cup to sit on a desk. So that requires leaving a hole. So one of them got left behind. Fall in. Yeah, yesterday I honestly did not think that I was going to get this thing to work. Because it was just, first of all, it was a lot. I put it in my damp box, which for anyone who does not know, a damp box is pretty much what it sounds like. It's you put pieces of pottery into it, and it helps to keep the moisture in so that they don't get dried out in between when you are working on them, which usually works really, really well. But for some reason, the pieces of this piece just wanted to dry out on me. Thankfully, they weren't bone dry. They're just like really, really leather hard. So, yeah, that was a bit troubling, but it did make putting the pieces of the piece together, because not all of them were, as I mentioned, like the precise angles that they necessarily needed to be. And so there was a lot of like just glopping on slip and then squeezing joints together. And sometimes the joints would just like crack and fall apart, which was really frustrating. And you can see there's some little cracks here, stuff like that. And that's kind of what I'm attempting to heal some of. You can see, you can kind of see how thick the walls of this piece are. They're about a 1/4 inch thick. It's pretty thick. So yeah, so there's some give there. Like if there's a little crack somewhere, it's not gonna make the entire piece fall apart. Plus, as I say, it's meant to be like a desk ornament. It doesn't have to be food safe or anything like that. But yeah, you can kind of see where I'm just applying sticking my finger in the water and just kind of rubbing some of these joints to really smooth them out. I'm trying to give myself a nice smooth surface as much as I can, and also heal up some of these cracks and get rid of these clay boogers. So many boogers. From there, blue buildings, sun green upon the sea. Give me a little neon, baby. I really shouldn't sing that. No, sorry. Apparently, I'm just going to anyway, so sorry. I mean, it's kind of gross. How can you stop yourself from singing it? It's just. That requires more discipline than I have. The other piece that, or rather the other aspect of this that I want to address and work on. Oh, interesting. On camera, that looked like a crack, but it's not. It's not a crack. It's just a ridge. But the other aspect of this that I want to work on is carving in the actual numbers. I haven't decided. It seems rather late in the process for me to be deciding things like this, but here we are. I haven't decided which number is going to be the whole, right? Like which number is not going to be actually represented on the piece. There are a couple of there are 3 schools of thought here, and I have not decided which one I'm going to subscribe to. One, I could make it so that the one is the whole, which means basically, the person who gets this will effectively never roll a 1, right? Because the one's not on it. However, you could also argue that since the whole is what's going to be face up, then whatever that number was is what's been rolled. So maybe that should be the 20. And then besides that, I could just make it some other random number. And that way it's neither, And also possibly a fun little game for the recipient to figure out which number's missing. I'm gonna break anymore. Consequences. No sleep in a quiet room, and this time kindness falls like rain, washes away, and Anna begins to change my mind. Every time she sneezes, I believe it's love, and oh Lord, I'm not ready for this sort of thing. In her sleep, and be awake. It's nonsense, but I understand, and oh Lord. This song is sort of low-key about me and Chuck, I think. Because he loves my sneeze. I have a ridiculous little baby sneeze. I don't know why I started doing that, but at some point I did. And now I can't stop and I can't help it unless it's just like I'm like sick or something and the sneeze is like I must blow out my entire sinuses. Then I have like a ridiculous little kind of sounding sneeze, and he loves that. And I do talk in my sleep. Yeah. And I keep him awake. So yeah, it's kind of low-key. That song is kind of about us. Except my name is not Anna. That's okay. We'll forgive them. It's poetic license. I keep coming back to the whole because it's like bumpier than I want it to be. It's bumpy. I don't want the bumpies. So if you're just joining me, I'm here working on my ceramic 20-sided die. Yesterday I seriously came really close to throwing across the parking lot. Because, trying to assemble all these little pieces and keeping them together was a daunting feat. But I persisted. I did not, as you can see, throw it across the parking lot. All right. I'm going to take my little carving tool here and just try and smooth out some of this bumpiness over here because it's driving me freaking crazy. I've gone all around the top here and mostly gotten these uneven ridges and little clay boogers and stuff smoothed out on those portions of the piece. But I really want to get this, the hole at the top to be a little smoother. I don't know if that's playing on camera, but can you kind of see that? You see that the bump right there? It's bugging me. I need it to go away. So now I'm carving it away. These, by the way, I acquired these tools recently. There's a Kemper tool. It's a carving tool. They're really good. They're really nice. I got them at Davin Ceramics. If you live in the Atlanta area and you are at all interested in clay or ceramics, I recommend. They're really kind of the only game in town, to be honest, which is odd. Atlanta's not a small place, but maybe it's just for like Northeast Atlanta, which is where I'm at. Maybe they're the only game in town for there, and like maybe like Cobb and Kennesaw have their own clay and ceramic sources. My chat's very quiet today. I'm trying not to get too fussed about making everything perfect. I just I want it to look, I obviously want it to look awesome, but there's a difference between awesome and perfect. When you shoot for perfect in art, that's when, in my experience, that's when you fuck it up. Because the more you sit there and fiddle with it and try to make everything perfect, first of all, the more risk you run of making a mistake. Secondly, you're never going to get there. It's just not going to happen. Art's never perfect. It's one of the points of being art. Oh, come on now, focus. Come back here. Come on. There you go. Okay. All right. So I'm going back to my little rib tool. I'm just going to smooth out the sides here on the bottom half. I'm going to be a little more careful because the hole is now in the palm of my hand, and so there's a little less support there. But as I pointed out, the sides of this thing are pretty thick, so this is kind of a monster, really. But it's cool. I'm rather proud of it, to be honest. Like last night, seriously, I did not think this thing was gonna work. I thought I had undertaken a ridiculous endeavor, and then I just stuck with it. And then the next thing I knew, it was actually put together. And I was like sticking one of the last triangles in place. It was very satisfying. I'm not gonna lie. That was a really, really cool moment to get that 19th triangle into place. Hey, I only walk the same as anyone. So this side and the slip on it is kind of thick right here. So I'm just kind of carving a little bit of that away. And then I'll go back in and smooth it. Dreaming I come home again. When I originally conceived of trying to do a ceramic D20, my plan was actually to make it into a lamp. But I have since decided that a pencil cup is more practical. Here's where we find out if my son watches the stream. Either, live. I know he doesn't watch it live, but let's see if he goes back and watches my stuff. Because this is for him. I was being vague before, but I'm willing to bet that he doesn't watch it. And so this is not a spoiler. But if he does, well, there you go. Here you go, boy. This is going to be for you if it survives the fiery inferno of the kiln. So I apologize for disappearing for a little while. We've been super busy. I had to go up to Nashville and get my aforementioned son all settled in to his dorm. It's his first year at college. So that was very exciting. Plus, I'd never been to Nashville before. It's kind of a cool place. It's a cool town. And the area where Vanderbilt's campus is, it's really cool. It's right there in downtown. It really reminded me of Midtown Atlanta a lot. So kind of like going to college in Midtown Atlanta. Minus the Center for Puppetry Arts. And, plus a lot of music recording studios. Excuse the extraneous noise of my dogs playing in the background.
We're killing!
They're killing. They're restless because it's almost time for them to EAT. Anyway, so yeah, we did that a few weeks ago, going up to Nashville. And then after that, we had the tadpole meetup, which was super fun, cool, but also a fair amount of stress and a good bit of work to put together. Especially as I made mugs like these, but they were actually mugs, like the handles. So I made mugs like these for everybody that was coming. So yeah, including myself and myself and Chuck, but we only actually need one for us. So yeah, I made like 16, I think 16 mugs, and only that one had a mishap. Its handle came off, but so I claimed that one as mine and gave the rest away. And they were all unique. They were all different because they're handmade. But I didn't get fussed about trying to make them all uniform, identical. Like that wasn't at all what I was going for. In fact, we used 2 different clay bodies. So some of them were this lighter color. Oh my God, with the focus. There we go. Where was I? Oh yeah. So we had 2 different clay bodies that we used. So those were different, and they all had different unique handles. And those of you who've tuned into my stream before have seen me have seen the dirty deed that is pulling handles for mugs. I think folks who come hang out with me on my stream are like completely tired of seeing that goofiness. But it's fine. It is what it is. I have used a handheld handle extruder also, and it works okay. It depends on what you're going for, and depends on what kind of clay body you're using, I have found. If you're using a clay body that will hold the moisture better, then the extruded handles are just fine. If you're using something that tends to dry out a little quicker, you probably want to pull your handles, because what ends up happening is when you extrude the handle and then you curl it over a pool noodle or a handle former, which I have a handle former, or I have several different handle formers actually. That sounded like I was being all fancy. I'm not. I just can't resist buying new toys. But yeah, what ends up happening if you've got a clay body that dries out a little quicker and you extrude the handle rather than pulling it, what you end up with is a lot of cracks in the handle. And depending on how big your extruder is and how thick the clay was when you rolled out the slab, it can give you problems. So yeah, as with most things, it depends. It depends. But it's all good. All of it's good. It's good to have all the tricks in the toolbox that you possibly can have, right? I will say our handle extruders are not cheap. So, if you don't feel like spending money on expensive pottery tools, then, just stick with pulling them, because that doesn't cost you anything. It's a bucket of water and a blob of clay and a pool noodle, or something round. I mean, you could even use like a paper towel tube. A paper towel tube? What the hell is a tube? A tube. Paper towel tube. English good. Okay. See, if I were at the community studio, now would be the time when I would go ask my instructor for advice. Because you see, like, there's things like this little knobby guy. There's a bunch of those around here. But what I'm questioning now is, like, how much is it worth it to risk cutting those off? So I feel like some of it could just be, like, basically sanded down. But yeah, so for those of you who have tuned in, I know this looks incredibly boring, but because I kind of started and have spent 40 minutes ending up with mostly the same thing. But this surface is a lot smoother now than it was. There are no visible cracks in this piece at all. See, that's what I mean. See, that bothers me. That little nipple up there. Yeah, I think I might need that one. I might need a nubbinectomy on that one. So this is a job this was stored with this little piece of styrofoam here, because this knife, it is very sharp. Very, very sharp indeed. So I'm going to exercise caution. Were you anxious there? I know I was. Source. Raining in Baltimore. So yeah, we did, let's see, spent the weekend in Nashville, and then we spent the weekend up in Asheville, funny enough, in North Carolina at the Tadpole meetup. And then this past weekend was DragonCon. So we are all exhausted. And I have no intention of doing anything that involves going out late or being in public or anything like that. Were you talking to me, hon?
No,
Okay. I'm sorry.
I'm talking to the idiot tech that's kept me late enough that I'm not going to get to go to the thing.
Boo!
Are you doing do the thing today?
Oh. Crap. I forgot about do the thing today. Damn it. I knew there was a reason why 4 was not a good time. I forgot all about it. Damn it. That's my bad. So yeah, Jeff, Heather, my Real Steps Do the Thing pals, I apologize. That is my mistake. All right. Successful nubbinectomy. Okay. Let's look. See if there's anything else that sticks out, literally or figuratively. No, I'm feeling pretty good about it, to be honest. There's a lot of boogers on the inside. But I think that's probably okay. Yeah, I don't know. You can't even really see into the inside of this guy. But yeah, so interestingly, can you hear that? That nice little hollow thumpy sound means that it's good and leather hard. So the next step, now that I have smoothed all this out, I don't really think that I needed to take quite that much time doing that, but I was just sitting here kind of chatting and being I don't know, being slow about it, I guess. So the next step will be getting the numbers in there. So what I need to do is look at my dice. It's actually an interesting question. Are all D20s created equal? And by that, what I mean is, do all D20s have the same numbering scheme? So like, is one always opposite the 20? You know? Because if not, then I'm not going to be fussed about where the numbers go other than just kind of randomize it. Hell, I can copy this one. I mean, I guess I could do that anyway. But what I want to do is I'm going to get an image of a D20 so that I'm using kind of the same font face, if you will, and blow up each of the sides to the correct size for each face, and then carve the numbers in, because like, you ever seen a die, right? Like the numbers are, you can feel them in there. They're not just painted on, because then it wouldn't take very long before all the paint would come off. So it's going to be authentic, then the numbers need to be carved in there. So that'll be my next step. So I think I'm going to go ahead and end this stream because nobody's here but me. And I think good old Lucky Phil fell asleep on me. Bless his heart. Sleep well. Sleep well, my Aussie friend. Yeah, and like I say, this is a good leather hard. Like, you know, I can touch this and the clay is not coming off of my hand. You know, so it's not like goopy, but it's also not it's not bone dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this plastic and I'm going to wrap it all back up in the plastic and put it in my damp box. Oh yeah, I never finished explaining what a damp box was. So basically, if you do pottery and you want to keep your stuff from drying out, you can make a damp box, which is basically like one of those plastic bins that you can get at like Target. And then you make a slab of plaster, and you want to use potter's plaster, specific stuff. But you can order it online. It's, you know, you get a big bag of it. But yeah, so you order potter's plaster and then you make like a big slab that fits in the box. And what that does is it keeps all the moisture from the pieces that you place in it inside the box, and keeps them from drying out. So it's a good thing to have. Here, hold on. I'll see if I can scoot my damp box over here. I'll show you guys. There we go. So see, this is what it looks like. And the top of this thing is actually completely clear. It's just all fogged up because the moisture has stayed in the box. And sometimes what will happen, which is kind of cool, I think, is when you open the box, like it almost like there's so much condensation that that gathers from the moisture of the pieces that it can kind of rain inside the box. But like these two pieces I've got in here, like these are totally, you know, they have plenty of moisture still in them. A little bit less than they did a couple days ago. I think it's because I keep opening the box. But you know, it's a really, really good way to keep your pieces from drying out on you. That's the point that I'm trying to make there. So yeah, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap my piece back up, because I am super tired from all of this traveling and convention going and whatnot thing that I have been doing. And so if you have stuck it out with me for this long, I appreciate you. And yeah, I want to get back to doing these, and I want to do them regularly. So I figured, okay, well, if all I'm up to today is a small stream where I just smooth out the sides of my D20 here, then that's what I'm going to do. So yeah. So I will definitely see you guys next Thursday. I will probably do another one of these tomorrow or maybe Saturday. I'm not sure. But I will definitely be posting more videos regardless of how often I do the stream. Okay? Alrighty then. Thanks for hanging out with me.